So coming to each kidney, so first one, right kidney. The anterior portion of right kidney consists of parts like duodenum, right lobe of liver, and hepatic flexure of colon. Colon is the largest part of the large intestine. So and colon consists of mainly four parts here: ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, and sigmoid colon. So that's why. So here hepatic flexure is nothing but a sharp bending between ascending and transverse colon. So if you observe here, this is ascending part of colon and this is the transverse part of colon. So the sharp bending between this is hepatic flexure, we call it as a. So you can observe anterior position. This hepatic flexure will be anterior position of the kidney is also so occupied by this hepatic flexure of colon. And when coming to the posterior portion, we have seen, so okay, these are the anterior portions of the kidney, okay, right kidney particularly. So when coming to the posterior portions, so this posterior portion of the right kidney is occupied by diaphragm and muscles of posterior abdominal wall. And diaphragm is nothing but, so it is a muscular tissue which separates so thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity. Thoracic part which consists of lungs and the respiratory tract, everything is said to be thoracic cavity, and the stomach, liver, so nothing, complete digestive system comes under after the stomach, intestines, all these said to be the abdominal part. So the thoracic cavity and abdominal cavity is separated by a muscular structure called diaphragm. So this is present at the posterior portion of the right kidney, and muscles walls of the posterior abdominal wall. Muscles of the posterior abdominal wall are also present in the posterior portion. And coming to the superior portion of the right kidney, we can observe the adrenal gland. So adrenal gland is located on the top of each kidney, you can observe. So adrenal glands are located in top of each kidney, which are helpful in the production of hormones like or neurotransmitters. You cannot call it as neurohormones or neurotransmitters. Adrenaline, noradrenaline, they are released by this adrenal gland. So coming to the left kidney, the anterior portion is occupied by the organs like spleen, jejunum, colon, pancreas, and stomach. Spleen is the accessory organ of the digestive system. So, and jejunum, it is also a part of small intestine, and next, this is a part of small intestine next to duodenum. So because small intestine parts are duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. Next to the duodenum part is the jejunum part, and whereas the large intestine parts are cecum, colon, rectum. So these are the small intestine parts and these are the large intestine parts. So and if you observe, the anterior portion is occupied by spleen, jejunum, colon, pancreas. It is also an accessory organ of the digestive tract or the digestive system, and stomach. It is a main organ of the digestive system. So these parts are occupied anteriorly for the left kidney. And if you observe the posterior parts here, posterior parts of the left kidney or diaphragm and muscles of posterior abdominal wall, you can observe these two parts are common for both right kidney and left kidney. On posterior portions for both of them, you can observe the same organs here, diaphragm and muscles of abdominal wall. And superiorly, so left adrenal gland. Superiorly means in the upper position. So obviously for each kidney, so adrenal gland will be present on each kidney, so which produces adrenaline and noradrenaline, which are nothing but a neurotransmitters. So coming to the weight of the kidneys here, an adult kidney weighs around like 120 to 170 grams each, and when coming to its length, so around 4.5 inches or it's around 12 centimeters, and coming to the width of each kidney, it is around like 6 centimeters, and thickness will be around 2.5 centimeters. And the kidneys contains mainly two distinct regions here, renal parenchyma and renal pelvis. So you observed here, we have seen here, So kidneys consists of majorly, this is a pelvis part and this is all the renal parenchyma part, the complete kidney. So this is a pelvis part which opens into the ureters here. So this is pelvis. So because all the urine which was filtered here, so that will be, so the blood gets filtered in the glomerulus and waste material enters completely into the major calyces. After that, it through hilum it enters into the renal pelvis. From the pelvis it reaches the ureters and next urinary bladder, and next through urethra it gets outside, it gets excreted out. So this is the renal pelvis part and this is the renal parenchyma part here. And if you observe here, basically, so the kidney consists of two parts here, renal parenchyma and renal pelvis part. And obviously the renal parenchyma is divided into again two regions here. So the outermost cortex part and the innermost medullary part. So that's why they have given, so two parts of renal parenchyma, renal cortex and renal medulla here. So renal cortex consists of parts like glomerulus, PCT and DCT, collecting duct, along with the peritubular capillaries. So nothing but these are all the parts of nephrons. Okay. So renal cortex contains renal cortex. This is the cortex portion where the nephrons are located here. So and only you can observe only the glomer. So if you observe this, okay, if you take a nephron consists of glomerulus, Bowman's capsule, PCT, loop of Henle and DCT, like that, then we'll see in the next diagram. So only the parts here, I'm repeating, only the parts like glomerulus, PCT, DCT collecting are present only in the cortex part, whereas loop of Henle will be present inside the medullary part of the renal pyramids. So that's why they have given like this. So the cortex part contains glomerulus, PCT, proximal and distal convoluted tubules, collecting ducts and adjacent peritubular capillaries. They are nothing but the blood capillaries surrounding these parts. And whereas renal medulla, it resembles conical pyramids, the pyramid-like structures present. These pyramids are situated with the base facing concave side. So this is the convex part and this is the concave part of the kidney. So kidney consists of, this is the convex part and this is the concave part. The cortex will be always like a convex part and the concave part consists of this medullary part. So the pyramids are situated with the base facing concave side of the kidney, facing hilum or pelvis. We can easily understand this. So which is nothing but the concave part consists of renal pelvis or hilum. So when coming to the renal pelvis, so this is a concave portion of the kidney where renal artery enters and renal vein exits. Obviously the blood supply to the kidneys is through blood vessels, is through two important blood vessels, renal artery and renal vein. Renal artery, so it helps in receiving blood by the kidneys, and renal vein, which is a exit for the blood which was deoxygenated or nothing but, so renal artery carries oxygenated blood towards the kidneys, whereas renal veins carries deoxygenated blood from the kidneys. Okay, so this renal artery, it was arised from the abdominal aorta. So now, so we can see the blood flow mechanism here, how the blood flows through into the kidneys. So if you observe here, first abdominal aorta, from here it starts, which the renal artery starts from the abdominal aorta. Renal artery enters, so it was divided into very small capillaries or blood vessels, so smaller vessels like arterioles. So efferent and efferent arterioles, it gets divided. First we'll see efferent arteriole because it supplies blood to the kidneys, that's why. So this renal artery now divided into smaller blood vessels called arterioles, efferent arterioles. So these arterioles now enter into the glomerulus where filtration of the blood occurs. After filtration, so after filtering, the blood exits the kidneys or the glomerulus through another blood vessel, smaller blood capillary called efferent arteriole, and this efferent arteriole again reaches through inferior vena cava. It again gets transported to heart and lungs for filtration. So whereas this is the flow of blood inside the kidneys. So abdominal aorta divides into a renal, gets branched, and that branched artery now enters into the urinary system, where it gets divided or branched into smaller capillaries, blood capillaries called arterioles. The first afferent arteriole, it enters into the glomerulus and the blood gets filtered over there in the glomerulus. It is a network of blood capillaries. So after filtration, the blood leaves the kidneys through efferent arteriole, and this efferent arteriole later it opens into the inferior vena cava. So each kidney is surrounded by fibrous tissue called renal capsule. We have seen in the diagram previously. So each kidney is divided into outer renal cortex and inner renal medulla. And so we have seen different types of pyramid-like structures inside the renal medulla. Around 8 to 18 cone-shaped inner renal medulla lobes or renal lobes are present. These are said to be renal pyramids. So we have seen triangle-like structures inside the medullary portion. So those are said to be renal pyramids. And around like 8 to 18 pyramids will be present in each kidney. And if you observe between each pyramids of the kidney, so between the pyramids we can observe projections of cortex called renal columns. So the space is called renal columns there. So between each kidney you can observe the column-like structures here, renal columns. These are pyramid-like structures, renal pyramids you'll be calling. Renal pyramids, and the spaces between renal pyramids are called renal columns, and each kidney contains around renal cells called nephrons. Nearly 1 million nephrons are present in each kidney. So these nephrons are said to be the structural and functional unit of each kidney. So renal corpuscles are said to be initial filtering portions, whereas the renal tubules are said to be the passes from the cortex into the medullary pyramid. So difference between the renal corpuscles and renal tubules are nothing but here the renal corpuscle portion consists of glomerulus and Bowman's capsule, whereas renal tubular part is nothing but starting from the PCT and ending to the collecting duct. So we will see in the structure of nephron now. So this is the structure of nephron here. So if you observe here, this part is said to be the renal corpuscle part. So this corpuscular part contains the network of blood capillaries called glomerulus inside the kidney, and the surrounding cup-shaped portion is said to be the Bowman's capsule. So this is capsular part. Okay. So the remaining completely is said to be the tubular part up to the collecting duct. This is the collecting duct where all the nephrons opens into the collecting duct. This collecting duct receives all the urine, and later it enters into the major and minor calyces, and later into renal pelvis, and later it enters the ureters and urinary bladder. So now, so this is a glomerular part, this is the Bowman's capsule, and this part immediately after the Bowman's capsule is said to be PCT, proximal convoluted tubule, and this part is said to be loop of Henle. This is descending loop of Henle, and this is said to be ascending loop of Henle. This is a thick limb and this is a thin limb of loop of Henle, and later this loop of Henle ends up as DCT, distal convoluted tubule. This is the early distal convoluted tubule, and this is a late distal convoluted tubule. So finally which opens into the collecting duct. And the blood vessels, so which supplies blood to each part. So this part of loop of Henle, mainly these are said to be peritubular capillaries. These are all blood vessels which supplies blood to this tubular part. So, or the loop of Henle along with the PCT. So, these are all blood vessels which supplies blood. So, that blood vessels you call it as a peritubular capillaries. So, if you observe the anatomy of deeper kidneys here, so renal cortex consists of renal corpuscle. Renal corpuscle is nothing but which consists of glomerulus and Bowman's capsule, and later, so next part, this is all present in the cortex part now. So the cortex part consists of renal corpuscle, and next it opens into renal tubular part, and next opens into the medullary ray part, which is nothing but here. Next opens into the collecting duct, collection of all renal tubules. So because collecting duct is a common for different kinds of nephrons, okay, different nephrons. Why? Because all the DCTs opens into a single large tube called collecting duct. That's why, so we call it as a medullary ray, collection of different kinds of collecting ducts to renal tubules together into a collecting duct. So that's why it is a cortex portion. Up to here, this is a cortex portion only of the kidney. So this is a corpuscular part. This is renal corpuscle, where the glomerulus and Bowman's capsule opens into the cortex portion, and next portion is renal tubule part, and this renal tubule part next opens into medullary ray, where all the renal tubules opens into collecting duct finally. So this is the anatomy which opens finally. And now, so if you observe the flow of urine, so the urine flows first through all these parts. Why? Because the blood gets filtered here, the filtered particles reaches PCT, from there into loop of Henle, from there into DCT, distal convoluted tubule, and from there different all the nephrons opens into the collecting duct. Finally, this collecting duct receives the urine formed, and this collecting duct now opens into renal pyramids, and this renal pyramids opens into calyxes, both first minor calyces, and after they opens into major calyces, and after that they opens into renal pelvis and ureters. So if you observe here, so the nephrons will be located here, the renal portion. So the capsular renal corpuscle will be present in the renal cortex portion here. So they opens into PCT, and next loop of Henle, next DCT collecting duct. All the collecting ducts opens into renal pyramids, and after renal pyramids the urine flows into minor calyces, and later after into major calyces, and after into renal pelvis, and after it opens into the ureters. From the ureters it reaches the urinary bladder, and finally urethra. Through urethra it gets excreted out. So this is a flow of urine. And if you coming to the structure of nephron here,